What's up guys, we're back with another video. We're gonna be doing forks today, talking about everything you need to know about forks for dummies. I'm not getting into all the technical aspects. We're just gonna talk about why would you upgrade your fork, what fork you have, why you have that fork. We'll get in a little bit about travel, and we might get into some what dampeners do, but we'll see on that. First, we'll start out with like stanchion diameters, and then we'll kind of I'll roll in from there. Stanchion diameter is this. Your stanchion is this, and that's the diameter of how thick it is. Probably the skinniest stanchion diameter you'll find on most higher end mountain bikes are gonna be a 32 diameter. Those are most commonly found on cross-country bikes, maybe some hardtails. They are gonna be typically very short travel, about 100 mil of travel to maybe 120. You just wouldn't want more than that. Thicker, more travel, beefier, more downhill oriented, heavier. Common 32 diameter forks are the RockShox Sid and then the Fox 32. With Fox, it's pretty easy. They just name their forks after the diameter. They used to have a Fox 49, which was a downhill fork. It wasn't actually a 49 diameter, it was the 40, but for a 29er. They don't do that anymore, so if you see that, we get asked that a lot. It was the 40 with a 20 for a 29er. So. Back to the show. I have one in my hand. This is a 34 diameter. This is the RockShox Pike. Its Fox equivalent is the 34. And then of course, there's always more boutique brands. And there's also just some other brands like DVO, they're a great brand. Marzocchi, great brand. Fox, RockShox, of course, already talked about them. Olin's, very pricey, very good. SR Suntour, another good one. Manitou, we're getting out of my English. Cane Creek, the EXT is another one. I'm forgetting some, but you get the idea. There's lots of suspension brands. They're all good. Just do your research, which one's better for you. Pretty much modern day mountain bikes just use tapered headsets. Tapered headsets, but tapered steer tubes. So all these are tapered, and that's very common. And all the ones we'll be showing today are all air suspension forks. There's also coil suspension forks, and that's a whole nother video. That's technical aspects that I'm not gonna dive into just yet today. So this is the RockShox Pike, like I said, 34 diameter. With these, 34s are pretty versatile forks. They can kind of be like, maybe like a downcountry fork all the way up to even all mountain, depending on your weight and your riding style. So Pike is a super popular fork and a lot of people love them. Usually in travels from like 130 up to maybe 150, 160 would probably be pushing it, but definitely doable on a Pike. 34 is kind of the same way. And if you look back to our dream build with a spur, that has the 34 step cast. So Fox kind of cuts out unnecessary parts and makes it a lot lighter, and that's in a 120, so that's another thing you can do with 34s. But this is just a great, all mountain trail fork that people are always super stoked about having. So the next step up in fork sizes is going to be 35, 36 diameter. So in Fox and RockShox, those are the most popular brands. It's going to be the Fox 36, which has a 36 millimeter diameter, and then the RockShox Lyric, which has a 35. Both are great forks. They're probably the most common forks out when you're going to look at any bike. I guarantee it's got one of those on it, especially if it's just, an all-mountain trail bike. They're awesome forks. They come in, Performance Series or the Select Series, so you get, really straightforward with your dampening and how your fork compresses all the way up to like a Grip 2 and then the Charger. On the RockShox. So there's a lot of different adjustability, a lot of different price points on these forks, but 36 and 35 stanchion diameters are great for people of like all shapes and sizes and all ride styles. Lately, within the last year, Fox, RockShox, and now some other brands are joining the party, are doing a 38 stanchion diameter. I've got it on my bike, we'll cut to that, and when we do, keep in mind, my bike is very dirty. We were at Shepherd Mountain in Ironton for the BME. That race was sick. I got to ride a little bit out there. That mountain is amazing, super raw, super steep, very, very fun. Great place. You can make it up there or out there or down there. So the 38 diameter, those are gonna be typically like right under a downhill fork. So downhill forks are dual crown. They're gonna be the single crown, which is just one crown race on the fork. So the 38 is going to be a very thick fork that you can still really pedal that bike around. You're probably pushing the limits. It's going to be a heavy fork. It's typically going to have a lot of travel. So we're talking like 160 at the minimum, all the way up to 190, somewhere in between there. Like I have a 38, that's 180. Big Bo, he's got a 180. They typically are heavier. They are going to be really plush, a lot of adjustability because you got a lot of air to deal with, and they're going to be really stout. So great for guys who are ripping downhill and wanting to push their bikes really hard and maybe not care too much about how fast they get back up the mountain. But the 38 is great. I love mine. Bo's got the Zeb, which is RockShox's equivalent. We'll probably do a video here soon on the 38 versus the Zeb. They're, you know, very similar. And again, RockShox go toe to toe with Fox, just like Tram and Shimano. There's other brands, but those are the two mains. And then up from there, our last category that we do not have any in stock, just like the 32, kind of like the extremes of the side. The 34, oh wait, we do have a Sid in stock. We do have a Sid in stock, so there you go. The 40, the Fox 40 or the RockShox Boxer, those are gonna be your dual crown downhill forks. So we'll pull up some images of those off online, but those are going to be very big forks. You don't wanna be pedaling them around, typically 200 travel, and those are for, you know, basically bike park only, ripping downhill. They will have a lot of travel and really, you know, help you go down some crazy stuff. So peace of mind is when you get on those big forks. You don't want to be worrying about if your bike can handle that. You want to be just worried about if your body can. But yeah, those are kind of like what fork is what. There's more technical aspects like the rake of a fork, you know, like the dampening, what is the best. I'm not going to get into that. That's kind of a wormhole, but there's plenty of great videos that do. We'll probably release one later once I can say it without getting too technical. I know it's very hard, but basically if you're upgrading the fork, the things you want to look at, or you want to try to match the rake, the fork that you currently have, and if you're building a bike from the frame up, manufacturers usually put that on there, but if you do have questions, call and we will definitely talk you through it. And then travel wise, try to match the bike. If you're building from the frame up, usually you can go 10 more millimeters more travel. And maybe if they already had 10, you can probably go to match the rear, but you don't want less travel than the rear. So there's tons of stuff to do. These are great. Forks are great to customize your bike. For me, suspension is one of the top things that I look for when I'm building a new bike. That's super important for me. And if you are in Springfield, or if you want to ship off your suspension to get like tuned and tested for you, Trail Labs is just right down the road from us. Will over there is a great dude. He's got a ton of knowledge, super smart in suspension. He would blow me out of the water, and he can definitely get you up right. A lot of people go to him. A lot of people go to him. So he's great for that. Appreciate it, guys. Leave a like and subscribe below. We got some cool stuff coming up, and it's almost summer, so lots of riding videos and everything. So appreciate it.